Things just took a major turn for Ousmane Dieng and his future on the Oklahoma City Thunder, as people have been questioning who should actually be on this team. Ousmane Dieng or Branden Carlson, as he just had a massive first game in Summer League. After being out with an ankle injury, he couldn't play in the Salt Lake City Summer League in Utah, where he played college basketball in what is that, the Pac-12 at the time. Now it's part of the Big 12. All right. So people have just been questioning after this big performance by Branden Carlson, some big games during the regular season by him as well, being on this two-way contract, splitting time in the G League with the Oklahoma City Blue, and now the Thunder, and Ousmane Dieng also splitting time. Who should actually be on this team, be on the bench, and have a standard contract? Carlson or Dieng? Because Carlson is on a two-way right now. He's on a two-way contract, okay? So we're going to have to, take some questions about this, see what's going on, and kind of break down from a statistical standpoint who is the better player and who should be on this team. If it comes down to trading Ousmane Dieng, so be it. Give Carlson the standard contract then, and you can have another two-way player on the squad. Like Gortman and Chris Youngblood have been balling out, but we only have one two-way spot left. Gonna have to give it to one of them. This gives them an opportunity to give them to both and see if they can ball out for the Blue and Thunder. Before we get into all this, though, quick moment to recognize that only 9.2% of you guys have that bell notification turned on. If you guys don't want to miss a single minute of action here at Thunder Digest, all right, and want to help our videos get into that YouTube algorithm some more, hit that subscribe button, that like button, and hit that bell notification turned on so you don't miss a single moment of action here at Thunder Digest. With that out of the way, let's go ahead, getting and talking about today's video. And this isn't something that I actually came up with all on my own. This is something a lot of you guys have been talking about in the comment section. Like, I saw this comment just yesterday. Okay, we're going to have to get rid of Dieng and keep Carlson. And it got me thinking, he may be right, but he also, I'm not trying to call you out or anything, but it's one of those things I look at it, man, it really is a tough decision. It's closer than a lot of people think. Some people want Dieng on the team, and I personally would rather have Dieng have the standard contract, but statistically speaking, Carlson might be the option. And so we're going to look at that today in the video. He had a great performance in his first Summer League game, all right? This was his debut. 23 points, 9 of 13 from the field, 4 of 6 from 3. He had 7 rebounds and 2 blocks. He did a little bit of everything in this game. You can't be mad at it whatsoever. It was a phenomenal showing from him, and he was the second best player on the floor probably. AJ Mitchell had the best game when you look at it, 27 points, 7 rebounds, and 9 of 13 from the field. And then Carlson, 23 points, 7 rebounds, 4 of 6 from 3. This is kind of crazy. And Snap News even thinks so. OKC is trying to get their second ring next season. And with depth and players off the bench like this, the Thunder could get their second ring next season. They're probably the favorites right now. When you're looking at, how deep this bench is, how good the starting rotation is, okay? You have the same team and everyone's only getting better pretty much. This team can easily go back-to-back. The majority of it is due to the developmental program the Thunder have set in place for some of these key and core members going into the future that are going to be cheap contracts. Branden Carlson is going to be someone you can only pay you could probably pay him $2 to $3 million a year, a very similar contract to AJ Mitchell. And you have him locked up, and he'd be a great backup center. I've seen some people say, Jay Will or Thomas Orber are the Isaiah Hartenstein replacements. They're like, maybe it's Branden Carlson. I don't necessarily agree with that because Carlson is 25 years old, if I'm not mistaken. And then Jay Will's 23, Sorber's 19. So they're younger guys that have more of an upside as Carlson's about to enter his prime right now. But I see the point there. I see what people are getting at. And it's not just us as Thunder fans that kind of see the, how much, I don't want to say potential, but how good of a backup center and role player Carlson can be. It was the, surprisingly enough, ESPN broadcast last night, even recognizing it. Isaiah Thomas, Hall of Famer, is a big Branden Carlson fan and was shocked to learn he went undrafted last year. The talent evaluators should be ashamed of themselves for not seeing Carlson. And he's right. He's right. The fact that he went undrafted and got picked up, undrafted, two-way contract with the Thunder and put in some good work in the G League and even with the Thunder on their run to the championship during the regular season, and every team should be ashamed that they let the Thunder get a player like this. Because worst case, I don't want to say it's worst case scenario, but something that we could see is they keep him on a two-way this season, okay? Ousmane Dieng, it's his last year as well on his contract. He hasn't got an extension or anything. This could be his final year with the team. team could just let him walk in free agency, pick up Carlson for a much cheaper deal, and save some money to try to stay under that second apron. And they will stay under the second apron. You replace Hartenstein with Carlson, Sorber, and J. Will. I think that's a W. I think that's a huge win in the books for the Thunder if you look at it. So it makes sense to keep him and not Dieng when you look at position statistics and what he's been doing for the Thunder in the blue. Okay, this is where we'll go in a little bit of stats, and I will warn you, our stat graphic generator wasn't really working today, so I went ahead and took some screenshots from their best little stretches. It's a little spaced out, so if you need to, pause the video and actually look at it if you have to. But here are the statistics. This is Ousmane Dieng, and he had some decent games, as you can see right here against Milwaukee. Back in February, he had a 21-point game against them. Very impressive. Very impressive. 12-point game as well against Brooklyn in January. And then a 16-point game against Portland over in March. He had some good stretches here when he got a decent amount of minutes. He also wasn't a bad role player. As you can see, some games scattered around here with decent statistics. But it's very hit or miss with him sometimes. I feel like sometimes he's on or sometimes he's off, all right? There's rarely ever this game where you're getting, a decent or average Ousmane Dieng. You either get the best Ousmane Dieng or you get the absolute worst. There's no in-between form whatsoever. And he put up some decent numbers during this, these stretches. In January, he shot 40% from three. Not bad whatsoever. Over in March, he shot 54% from three. Very solid, 60% from the field. 50%, I believe that's what it says right there for February. Like, he put up some good games. He has. He's shown promise and potential as a backup stretch four. He looks like a decent player that could carve himself a bench role with the Thunder. The problem is, can he actually do that? Can he? Is he going to get the time to? Or are these guys that are going to be better for him? Because there are legit discussions over two-way guys being better than Ousmane Dieng. There are discussions right now, as you guys seen from the comment sections, who's better, Branden Carlson or Ousmane Dieng? Brooks Barnhizer, who was just drafted, or Ousmane Dieng? Who's the better player? And from what I've seen in Summer League so far, I know it's only Summer League, I would give it to Barnhizer and Carlson at the moment. Now, Dieng has the potential to be better, but is it ever going to be realized on Oklahoma City? I don't know. And then you look at what Carlson does right here. Like, he's had some great games, and it's kind of a consistent, what you're going to get from him. You're going to get close to 5 points a game, 4 or 5 points, and you're going to get some decent three-point shooting and some good rim protection as well. That's what you're getting from him. You can kind of see it right here. He shot 54% from three in January. All right? Like, he was a consistent almost 50% shooter in every single month. He had some bad stretches as well, like in that March series, these March games, but overall, he's not a bad player. He's a solid backup big man. A lot of teams would want him as well, but he's on a two-way contract, so they're going to have to just deal with it. And, going into next season when he's a free agent, hopefully Oklahoma City doesn't pick him up. But what I see happening when I look at these stretches, these, numbers that both players are putting up, I could see a world where the Thunder trade Dieng for a first-round draft pick later on to beat this second apron and get these role players in a draft that they don't have a ton of picks in, maybe a 2027, maybe 2029, something like that. Keep on progressing down the road. Keep on getting these cheap role players that can actually be something for the team. Trade them, get that pick, and give Carlson a standard deal, something similar to AJ Mitchell, 3 years, $9 million. I think that'd be a steal because Carlson has shown potential to be a good backup center behind Isaiah Hartenstein. And when Isaiah Hartenstein leaves in free agency, because I'm telling you guys right now, it will be extremely difficult to try to keep him while also staying under the second apron and keeping the core trio of Shai, Dub, and Chet. Hartenstein's probably leaving. You move Chet back to the starting five, or maybe Sorber steps up and he becomes starting potential. Maybe you go small ball again. Nikola Topic develops a three-point shot. And he has been in Summer League. You throw him in starting lineup. Branden Carlson's your backup center. J. Will's your backup stretch four. You have Sorber as well. You have, you'd have extreme depth at the center position. So I see that as a reality that could happen. Dieng getting traded and Carlson stepping in for that standard contract, just because what we've seen from Carlson, I feel like we've been more impressed than we have with Dieng. And some of this is just because Ousmane Dieng, just hasn't gotten the time, to actually develop and showcase the talent that he brings to the NBA level for a squad. And sometimes it just looks like he would benefit on being on a team that isn't as deep, that's trying to rebuild, where he can actually get the time to develop and play. Like maybe instead of Dylan Jones getting traded to the Wizards, maybe it should have been Oos because that would have benefited him. There's no telling, okay? That's all I got for this video, though. Let me know what you guys personally think. Who would you rather keep, Ousmane Dieng or Branden Carlson? Let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.